this aluminium ball floating in space, and also those which cause it to spin, we call the forces of electromagnetic induction. My laboratory at Imperial College and surrounded by electric motors, all of which use this kind of force. The force is produced by electric currents in this coil, which induce flow currents into this ball. So this shows at once the only kinds of objects that we can send in this way are net objects, are good conductors of electricity. Now, whilst reasonably easy to support a three-dimensional object such as a sphere, it is possible more careful with flat sticks. It is possible to support a disc such as this one. Again, we have two coils, one inside the other. This time each coil is wound on laminated steel spindle. When I switch on, we can suspend the disc, and if I have control the current in one of these coils, I can make the disc do different things. For example, I can make it oscillate, like that. Or I can make it steady again, floating high up. Or can tilt it over at an angle, such as that. And finally, eject it altogether. Now, each of the different actions could be said to be the result of an entirely different mechanism. Now let me show you how we use induction forces in a different way. This time we have a whole row of coils sunk in slots in a steel base, and they've been arranged in such a way as to propel this sheet of aluminium horizontally. Lay it on the surface, switch on, once again. This time, without switching off, I'm going to put the aluminium back and hold it with finger and thumb at one end. So you can see that as well as the horizontal force, there's also a lifting force. When I let go, of course, it shoots off. This is the force we designed it to have. The lifting force is something, in this case, we really didn't bargain for. Now this is the linear induction motor. In many ways, it is easy to explain how the forces horizontally arise than is the case with the vertical forces or with the forces we saw supporting the sphere. But simpler still is a demonstration of induction using a single coil and a single ring, like this. Now the ring is threaded over a steel core, which as you see is made up of a number of strips of steel. A bundle of iron wires will do just as well. When I switch on the alternating current, the ring is thrown in the air, hold it down and release it, and it's again thrown in the air. But if I replace it whilst the current is still flowing, then it seems to float in the manner of the plate and the disc we saw earlier, and yet with this difference, it will never stay absolutely suspended in space. Now let it go, it always has to lean on the filler. Now this is a very old experiment. It was first performed about 1880. But what was not realized until recently was this remarkable fact. If I hold alongside the steel core a copper cylinder which is free to rotate, then nothing much happens until I put on the ring. That is to spin the cylinder like this. And if I put the cylinder on the other side of the core, now the magnetic field travels along the axis of the cylinder. We have made an electromagnetic gun. Now, in practice, it's very easy to construct one of these guns, because all you need is a whole row of coils placed next to each other, like this, and each coil is simply a coil of wire wrapped on a bobbin. A plain steel rod does remarkably well, because steel, remember, is a conductor of electricity as well as of magnetism. This tubular motor is not the most efficient of linear induction machines. I used it to show you another way in which you can use this amazing force of induction, which appears as almost artificial gravity under our control.
Now, as an engineer, I must try and put this force to good use. When I do, I must be sure that I'm getting the very best out of my machine. Now, one of the most advantageous arrangements appears to be to use two flat machines face to face, forming the outsides of a sandwich, with the aluminium sheet as the filling. Now, this motor is really a most potent device. But still, pretty useless as a motor because a fraction of a second after I switched on and the aluminium has gone and we no longer have a motor. So if we want continuous motion, we must turn this machine over. Now moving part, and let it sit on a fixed rail and run along that, and run like this. Now would you like to rest from your hand?
Take the weight, turn on,
supply. I'm going to raise the voltage slowly, and the motor will climb this very steep incline. You'll notice that it doesn't need wheels to grip the rail, there is virtually no moving part, and the motor is capable of developing a very large force. Raising off. Control the motor for very low speed. Or stop it when it's moving very fast. When used on the horizontal, and made in a much larger size, such a machine is capable of developing a very high acceleration. At the Motor Industry Research Association laboratories at Nuneaton, the linear motor is being used to crash test all kinds of vehicles. This motorcycle will reach 30 miles an hour in a few yards. The victim for this test is a dummy, the same weight and size as a live rider. When the bike hits the barrier at the end of the track, the effects of a genuine collision can be measured. The linear motor to do this job is very small. It's only about 3 times as big as our model which climbed the rail. Now it's being coupled to the carriage, and the final countdown is started. Interlocks operate on the doors, red lights flash, and once the final button is pressed, the forces of induction take over. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Everything season and aim, and to every thunder